impromptu.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
it started out as a conversation, then it led to a let's show some love to the prospects that are not getting enough spotlight. So we figured we give them some spotlight. These are the guys that you talk about in your DMs with the other draft nuts about who you watching. So we're gonna shout out to the prospects that need spotlight. You know, again, this is the deep dive. We're trying to go. These are from day one to day three to maybe undrafted free agents. This is some guys that we felt that should get some love. But first, we wanted to Coach Walk is going to come out here and do the Lord's work. He was with us last season when we were talking about the draft. Spent hours with us. That was a good time, right? When we were talking about Ouachita Baptist.
Yes, sir.
Ouachita Baptist.
And you know this, bro.
That was a good day, man, for the draftniks out there. So I mean, how you guys feeling today, man?
Happy to be back, man. I mean, like I said,
bro.
I've been. It's draft season, man. I'm ready for it. I want all the mocks. I want all the ideas.
All the ideas. I mean, now is anyone will flip a coin, odds evens, or whoever's got the most Eagles stuff goes first, or we'll go with the
Sirianni route, man.
How about the guy who has the most Eagle stuff on go first? And since you're our guest, we'll allow you to go first. I mean, what's a prospect out there that you feel like hasn't gotten a lot of love out there in the Eagles community?
So the prospect I feel that hasn't received a lot of love is someone that's closer to home for me is going to be a BG Ojulari from LSU. Entering the prospect this year, 6'2", 248. Definitely during his time, he packed on 28 more pounds because he wasn't that when he left. But yeah, this is a kid who can play, originally started out as a linebacker and then can convert over defensive end. So you kind of have that hybrid of where he can play that edge style defense, especially in this, odd front that we're going to run with Sean Desai going on in the future. And properly learning from Hassan Reddick and BG and these guys, I think with the skill set he already has now, he can just, the sky is there.
Now tell us about that personal relationship that you have with BJ.
So BJ, I coached BJ and Aziz when they were both in high school. Started my coaching career at Marietta High School, thanks to Coach Richard out there in Marietta, Georgia. So I've coached BJ his freshman and sophomore year before I moved to OKC. So familiar with the kid, definitely seen him progress in size because when I was coaching him, he was 200, but he was playing on both sides of the field. But the fact that, you're seeing it now, both the like this draft, you're seeing the brothers come into the leagues now. It shows the bloodline. Like, hey, this is
absolutely
these guys out here like really working. This is not, just for sugar, honey, iced tea, and giggles.
Well, I think that a lot of like iron sharpens iron type of stuff has to be going on as well, because considering they're the ones that are probably going to be spending the most time with each other, growing up, practicing with each other. I think that tends to be what happens.
Yeah, and Coach was talking before we got on about like the quality of football in that part of Georgia too, right? Like it's not like these dudes didn't play anybody. Like they've been, to your point, of like iron cutting iron their whole life. And I love with BJ, like he's twitchy, right? Like it doesn't surprise me, Coach is saying that he was 200 because he moves like a dude that's still 200 pounds, right? And so whenever Tank talked about it, like whenever you're looking at these prospects, you want to see how quick they get off and leverage. And he has a quick first step, and I love that he keeps his pads low, right? And like he gets into these tackles, and he's already thinking about whatever that move is that's coming. So he would be a great fit for the Eagles. Coach, I'm curious to see where you think that he would be drafted. I had him like a day 2 grade, second rounder, but what were you thinking?
I have him day 2, but I can see him sliding into the 3rd just because of day 1. It's after the top 10, it's going to be a guessing game all the way out until
exactly.
And like me, you were saying earlier today on the phone, it's hard to say who's an unknown because there's so many guys out here outside of the 15 that it can go any direction with any of these teams as we're progressing through.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just talking about that in the show. What was that, yesterday, right? Just the fact that it's such an enigma, right? Like there's so many players that could go so many different places. That's also why this conversation evolved to where it did, because it was like, hey, let's throw some other people out here that folks might not be thinking about, that could slide or maybe even get pushed way up draft boards because they also have these like anomalous traits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean in the chat says, "What's up, guys?" Evan Hull, running back Northwestern, and Tavion Thomas, running back for Utah, from the running backs. Yeah, Evan Hull, I saw him down at the Senior Bowl.
Nice.
He's doing his thing. Now, how about Mal? You want to go next?
Yeah, let's go, man. All right, so I mean, let's talk about Will McDonald then, bro. You know, just after we talked about BJ, I feel like going Will makes a little bit of sense. Coach was saying earlier, he asked, is Will McDonald actually like somebody that is undiscovered and not talked about? Personally, I feel like he is, considering how well accomplished he is, right? That he broke the Big 12 sack record. He's somebody that has an unbelievable first step, right? When you're talking about that get off and being able to get to the quarterback. And he also played the 5 technique for like almost half of his snaps in college and still was able to produce as a dude that absolutely should be playing on the outside of the tackle. So I liked his interviews, you know, going Gail's route, listening to him talk about, you know, himself and his accomplishments, but also the fact that he knows he needs to bulk up. And he came back to school and had even a down year, but he said that he needed to learn how to become a better defender. And it was also important to him to graduate. So, you know, it also shows the character component. And, you know, the Eagles are looking for people that fit into the culture. I feel like Will McDonald is a absolute menace on the outside, but also somebody that could come in, learn from Reddick, right? Learn from Brandon Graham, learn from the folks that laid the foundation for a great defense, right? Like, we're trying to turn it over to another chapter. I feel like Will be a great person to bring in.
Interesting. Will's getting a lot of love in a lot of our. We've had him in a couple of our mocks, and when you talk about if the whole idea of getting edge a little bit later, he would be a guy that would, you know, potentially at 30.
Potentially.
You know what I mean? So I mean, not bad. Shout out to Rhonda. She says, "Good evening, guys." Shout out to you guys in the chat. If you guys have players that you want to talk about, let us know. We'll bring them up. And you'll teach us about some of your day 3 sleepers.
Absolutely.
Now, Ev, I mean, you want to start with your sleeper first? I mean, or you want to wait for that one?
I was going to go kind of in chronological order as far as like where I think they would be drafted at. And since we're sticking with, you know, Will McDonald and BJ Ojulari, we're around the top of the draft still. So I was going to go someone like an Emmanuel Forbes. I brought up Julius Brents yesterday because I liked his size as a big, lengthy cornerback, and, you know, potentially could be moved to safety. But here's another guy that, I mean, his size is, in the height standpoint, we're talking a 6'1" corner. Sounds great. This man is skinnier than Smitty. That's one thing that you got to keep in the back of your mind. He's weighing in at 166 at the combine, but I'm talking freak speed, man. 435, 40, and then on top of that, what I like about him is this is a guy that can actually. He's a game breaker, man. He had 14 career interceptions, 6 of them returned for touchdowns. He's a guy that, you know, is able to find the end zone once he gets the ball in his hands. Could that potentially be useful in the return game? I don't know. I don't know if he has any return experience, but looking at the speed, what he brings in, I think he's an interesting prospect to look at towards like day 2 for the Eagles if they hadn't taken cornerback yet.
Interesting. Dude, when he ran his 4.35, I don't think I've seen a smoother looking 4.35 in a minute. He didn't even look like he was actually like running hard. So I think I was just like, and then from you know, the thing they say about his weight, like, is he gonna be a liability as a, you know, in the run?
Yeah,
I mean, our team's gonna try to run at a guy who's built like a Michael Jackson on top of a car.
Well, it is interesting considering he's only 166 pounds. They talk about how aggressive of a player he is, and sometimes that could be even to a detriment. He's playing too aggressively. But I mean, for a guy that, if you're looking at him, the one concern I would say is definitely his size as far as his weight is concerned. But if you are counteracting that with how aggressive he plays, maybe it can translate.
And I mean, he's playing in the SEC, right? So he's playing against top level dudes. So the weight concern is a thing, but I think that's the same thing that people are saying about Bryce Young, but he held up in the SEC, same sort of context. So, I mean, if he could play in that league and he was holding it down, again, it goes to the whole concept, the theory of getting these taller, more longer, lengthy corners in here, safeties in here. Some folks will talk about later that with the same traits. But he ran well, right? So like that's also a big piece of this too.
Talking about this cornerback draft, I think there's a lot of corners. Like everyone's been stuck on the whole Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr. earlier in draft season. Now I feel like everyone's like, okay, we got our corners locked in for a couple years. Let's get the developmental a little later. Lito Shepard, Sheldon Brown vibes. Let them marinate in the mix, and then break out the fruit salad next year. How about that?
The fruit salad.
Mix it all up there, let it marinate in the juices. Talk about, like, again, we have our quarterback of the future. We have our QB of the past, like, the Mariota that should have been here in the mix. But I'm talking about a guy that you develop, a guy that has kind of like the same skill set as the two guys you have in the house who can come in, try and compete on day 3. Let's talk about UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, also known as DTR, 6'2", 203. About the same, he's got the same size as Hurts, a little bit lighter than Hurts. But again, talk about mobility, talk about, he's got some flash plays out there. He's a guy that I think, from a production standpoint, in Chip Kelly's system, he threw for 88 total touchdowns. Actually, he had total touchdowns. He had 116. He's got 88 that he threw. Quarterback rushing yards, he's got 1,826 yards. Passing yards, 10,000, over 10,000. Overall, you just got to think what he's done for UCLA. He was very productive for them. And again, we're just talking about guys that you can develop on the back end. Guys that are bought in. He's a guy that could have come out last year, but decided to go back. He said I want to learn what it's like to be an adult. Like Evan would love this about him. He's like, he's like learning out how to be adult, manages finances. Got an NIL deal with Activision. So he's a guy who figured that let me go back a year. He's got the Mamba mentality, and a guy that you might want to just try and develop.
I like him as a developmental piece. I have one question for you, though. I mean, you look at his head coach. Do those offensive numbers feel inflated at all just because he's got a guy like Chip Kelly running the offense? Yeah. I mean, we know how Chip Kelly is as a college head coach. He's a high offensive powered, just throw a billion points up on the board type of guy.
Oh, I mean, he's also another guy, Mariota, in here, the Chip Kelly guy. So, those little athletic traits, you start talking about traits on day 3, you start looking at traits. And again, is Ian book?
Yeah.
Is that Bible?
It's time to turn the page, I think.
Turn the page on that book, what I'm saying? So,
I like DTR at the combine too, bro. If you saw him, like he battled, like he kept going. He didn't, on each of the routes, he didn't necessarily start off crispy, but as the throws kept progressing, like he just kept getting better. My question was around like how much of a quarterback is he? Because you definitely see he's an athlete. Questions about like certainly the post snap progressions and processing. But if he got in here, he could sit behind somebody like Jalen Hurts. I think it would be great. He absolutely has to bulk up. I don't think he can stay 203 and continue to be the kind of player in the NFL that he was at UCLA. But when you watch Charbonnet, and this man is out running as the lead blocker in front of Charbonnet, right? Like giving immense amounts of effort. Again, I think it goes back to culture. It goes back to the type of player he is. And you hear him talk in any interview, you can tell he has a good head on his shoulders. So I like the player a lot, man. Like you said, developmental day 3 dude for sure.
Now Todd chimes in with Malik Cunningham, but go ahead, Coach. What are you gonna say about
it makes sense with our scheme because as we saw last year, our OC didn't make the adjustment to the personnel we had on the field when Hurts went out. But now if you have 3 quarterbacks with the same similar skill, the play scheme doesn't change at all. But as well, this kid already understands the RPO aspect of it. So now he can sit next to Brian Johnson and kind of, learn how to actually play a quarterback. There's no need to rush him.
Yeah. And like, even if it doesn't work out, he's still somebody that contributes something to the team, right? Like he's even still a voice in that QB room. So yeah, I love it, man.
Now Todd mentions Malik Cunningham out of Louisville. He's another guy who did his thing down at the Senior Bowl, but another guy, developmental. So keep him in mind on day 3 when you're eating your popcorn.
You guys think Stetson ends up getting drafted, or you think there's possible that he's another Carson Strong type that goes UDFA?
I think someone might.
Carson Strong
I think
last year was being mocked everywhere from the 1st round all the way to the 7th, and then went undrafted. I'm just saying.
Because it was funny because like some people were like, "Yo, Carson Strong, man, in the 1st." I'm like, bro, after the Senior Bowl, like he didn't interview that well. And that was the word that he didn't interview well, and people were like, "Nah, that's some draft talk, whatever, draft rumor stuff." But he didn't, and that's exactly why he fell. I think who else was saying that? But at the combine, he was out there throwing to wide receivers. That was smart of him to go out there. All these teams are out there to talk to, so might as well go out there and let everyone see what you can do still. Very interesting. But Stetson Bennett should get drafted.
Yeah.
He get drafted, but his lifespan is going to be because you're running into that who's homeboy from Oklahoma State that entered the league at like 40.
Brandon Sweden. Not Sweden. What the heck was his last name? But yeah.
Got drafted by Cleveland.
Yeah. He went at the end of the 1st. Yeah.
He's 28 in the Tabo class.
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah. Okay.
At that age, you're gonna be taking them. Yeah,
Brandon Weeden.
Yeah,
Brandon Weeden. You're gonna be taking them hits as a QB. The body falls apart after 30. I think some of us can, off of experience, kind of know that because I'm feeling it. I'm 31.
So what you trying to say, Coach Walk?
I'm just saying somebody got to agree with me on this one. I know.
My ACL.
I was hanging on in bed 5 shows ago. So.
My ACL is hanging on by a paperclip. I would say that I still got it, but my body does not have it. Moving right along, man. Let's go back to Coach Walk. What you got on it? Put some stank on you.
All right, my next one. I like I like to stay on the defensive sides just because that wins games. You can have a clock manager and still produce on the defensive end, as we saw with the 2000 Ravens, and then again with the Ravens again.
But San Fran last year, right? Like, absolutely.
Well, the defense didn't save them in the NFC Championship. But I'm looking at and I'm probably gonna chop this up. Felix Anudike-Uzomah from Kansas State. This is another body I'm looking at because I'm looking at this defensive scheme, and it's all about controlling the edge and then as well lane discipline. And this is what this guy has. 6'4", 255, definitely is going to be a big type of body. And then especially with the defensive scheme we run when Philly, he's definitely going to be playing in that 3-eye technique a lot because of that defensive scheme that we do run into. the thing with him I love about him so much is his motor. He's determined to get into that backfield either way, and it's additional skill sets he have that he can work on, but it's not just a simple bull rush. He can, have aggressive hands to try and get back there. His bend is not as sexy as I would like it for it to be. Pause.
You're good, bro.
But at the end of the day, with proper coaching, that's something you can coach, fine tune as far as a fundamental that, this guy can eventually replace BG when it is time to pass that torch. What is it? Last year was his best year with 11 sacks. This year wasn't as good, but as well, like, I'm not looking for you to come out and be a superstar. I just need you to come on the field and produce. We're not asking you to do a lot. Just, do your job, because there's so many stars in line right now in Philly.
Yep.
We have that guilty pleasure now of literally we're just adding additional decorations on the cake right now.
For sure. I think that's a huge part of it. I think if you have the rotation that we have, it takes a lot of the pressure off of these guys that are coming in, for sure. Jordan Davis is going to have a much bigger role, though, this year, man.
So, Coach, at 255, do you think that he could hang at the 3-eye just because he's going to be kicked inside a little bit more and, like, trying to tussle with those guards, the heavy hands? Like, that's what Brandon Graham is able to get away with. You think that he has that same sort of toolbox?
I don't think he has that toolbox, but the thing with the 3-eye and his defensive scheme, we're running in an odd front, you want a one-on-one matchup. And I believe Uzomah can win. If given that opportunity, he can win a one-on-one matchup with his size. Think about it. This dude is going to be practicing every day against the best O-line in the league. So he's going to know what works, what doesn't. And knowing our personnel already, we got guys like Kelsey, Jordan, Lane. They're going to pull him to the side and let him know, like, hey, this is what other guys in the past have tried to do. This would actually work. Or, hey, change this, that, and the third. So we're not expecting these guys to come in and be the immediate starter. If anything, just come, learn, take the experience you're given, and learn from it. Come make those mistakes, man. Learn from those mistakes. Just don't make the same mistake, because at the end of the day, that's when we start getting on DB for like the 50th false start he did in the same down, formation. Yeah.
Facts. I love it, man. I love the fact that, you identified as those one-on-ones, because that's really what when you're looking at that third down pass rush or those opportunities, when you have all of these other horses around you, it's like you said, who could win the one-on-ones. And so having somebody like him that you could move in with the Milton, I still believe that Jordan Davis going to kick some ass on pass rush, yo. Like, that man is just so big and massive. Even if he's not getting to the quarterback for sacks, like, he's going to just take up space. And so, having somebody like him next to him, even into the future would be amazing. So what round do you think he will be coming off of the board, in your opinion? Just a guesstimate, right? Like, it's no way.
I can see him going day 2. I honestly can see him going day 2, because I think there's once the run starts on edges, it's going to be 5 edgers coming off the board. And as we always know, that's how the draft always goes. Once 2 corners start going, then it's 3, 4, 5, and until somebody break the trend.
Facts.
Shout out to Dana, go Eagles. Shout out to Kathy as well. Will says, I've seen multiple mocks with Van S to us at 10.
Don't fall for it. Well,
some online sites,
propaganda.
ESPN. After yesterday's stream, I am scared of that pick. I mean, we identified the prospects that you should be waiting on, because you shouldn't. Those are the guys.
I feel Van Ness only got one skill, and that's if I can't bull rush you, like, then
so
what else do
I
have?
Well, that's the top 10.
To say the same thing about this man for us to say enough is enough. Well, this man came on the show today. It probably ain't been on. How many times? This is the 5th time we done said all he does is run through people's chests. Enough of Will Van Ness.
Because when you start thinking, when you say top 10, there are reasons that you go top 10. That means there's various options to your game. So I'm not developing anything in the top 10.
No, you started. You're not sitting on the bench.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't need to, like, it's got to be immediate impact, but also, if it's explosiveness off the edge and a Nolan Smith that you can't draw up, that's something that he'll bring right to the table from day one, and it's situational. I'll take that, But again,
why are you drafting a project when you've got polished, finished products at 10, man?
Not a 10, man. Not a 10. Not a 10. Mark calls him. He says, "Say no to the Loch Ness monster." Jay Koch gives him a Van Doodoo.
Van Doodoo, you love this dude.
He's going to Dallas, bro. Jerry likes some guys with the shoulder
Dallas.
Jawn.
I'm thinking New England, man. He's the perfect New England Patriot. Just like he just screams the Patriot.
Teddy Bruschi.
I mean, considering how
Patriot way.
Dude,
Ugh.
Bill Belichick and Mac Jones have been butting heads, though, man.
Well, yeah,
hey man, it's all about the medicals, man.
Fix their offense. All about the medicals. Seek offensive advice because their offensive coordinator was an idiot, and Bill Belichick is upset. No, Bill, that's your fault, yo. Anyway,
wasn't Patricia their offensive coordinator?
Matt Patricia and Judge
that was
all like splitting responsibilities.
And they still can't figure it out.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Jay with the Adetamu Adebayo. Guy that
that's your boy.
I was gonna talk about him tonight, but I was like, we actually talked about him. I know Mal said he runs like a toddler, but that toddler's quite athletic, and he's got.
So was my toddler. I ain't drafted him though.
He's got a plan. Adetamu got a plan, and he comes from Prince bloodlines. Okay, his dad is a prince. Okay,
there we go.
I said that on the last podcast, but again,
there we go.
Go watch him. Ev, did you go watch Adetamu yet?
I watched Coming to America last night. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Well,
close enough,
you check him out there.
Yo, excellent.
So
$20 to unfreeze his assets.
So who wants to follow up on this one?
Yeah, I'll throw it up. So JL Skinner, man, somebody that I was talking about on the timeline a little while ago, but talking about the safety position, somebody that I really do like. Coach mentioned at 209. He said, is he a wide receiver? That's definitely one of the pieces that he'll have to improve on. But what I love is his mentality, right? When you listen to him talk about playing football, when you hear him talk about playing safety, he wants to hit and he wants to be responsible for where he needs to be. And for me, that's two really important things in his defense. They're highlight hits that he makes, but then also realistically, like you see him where he's supposed to be. And I value that because that also means that he's reliable, right? Like a dude that you can rely on. I think there's a lot of value in that. He also is somebody that plays coverage well. He's had time at free safety, time in the box, and also time in the slot. So he's able to like play multiple positions. And I also think that realistically, early on in his career, he could probably be a pretty good special teams contributor. He's injured. He injured his pec working out before the combine, so he wasn't able to do any of the physical stuff. But he said that teams are still relying on his tape and reaching out to him. Unfortunately, he has met with the Cowboys already. I would hate to see him become a Cowboy, man. But yeah, so as far as the safety position, JL Skinner is actually my top safety. I'm gonna just put it up right now. Like I watch some of these other guys, and like realistically, I'm not impressed. I also put Brian Branch as a cornerback, not as a safety, because he's a slot corner. So if you take him out of the equation, to me, JL Skinner is number one, and I stand on that.
JL Skinner sounds like a law office.
It makes sense. You need somebody like Skinner that's versatile because you want to give these defensive looks. I fell in a rabbit hole looking at what Sean Desai did with the Bears, not this past season, but the 2021 year, and kind of trying to see like what we're going to get into this upcoming season. And he does like to disguise his defense. It's not going to be as sexy as everybody think it is. It's a little bit more seasoned than what Gannon gave us, but it's all about disguising the scheme, the pre-reads to make it more difficult for the quarterback. And if you got a guy that can line up at the nickel and you're thinking he's dropping back, but he's literally going to play nickel or just to play some type of cover 8 defense we're going to see this season, then I'm all for it, man. And then he's going to go up in weight. Once he gets access to these NFL resources, these guys are going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. If he gets up to 215, 220, I mean, he's playing in the league for a long time. Even if he doesn't, I think he does, because he didn't experience a bunch of injuries. But it's exactly what you said. When he can line up deep, but then step down to the slot, right? Like, you could end up in the box. He could play man, he could play zone. That multiplicity gives you a lot of, I feel like as a coordinator, you get excited with players like that you could just line up anywhere and just let them go do their thing.
Heck don't mean nothing because we literally just saw the news that was what the reason why Nakobe fell back last year, and we saw what he did. What and he said, "I'm no longer benching," and we're seeing what he did when he get his chance on the field. So
I want to bring this up real. I mean, because we talked about Ev talked about his medicals right in his face, but he actually went on a podcast with his Georgia boys and actually basically described the scene of like how his stock got, took a hit. And he was like basically saying that they lied. So and here it created a ripple effect. And then Evan shows up to the Eagles Autism Challenge and he's like,
"Yo, how's the leg?
Sup, dog?" This is what sparked the how's the medicals. This how this all came about. So Evan,
let me see that knee extension real quick.
Shout out Jacob says, anyone got some peanuts to put in my beer while I watch the best podcast ever?
That is the nastiest thing
ever.
I'm disowning that last name, bro.
Ooh.
Ever. Nah, that's all Hollywood Herman. He done indoctrinated people into this terrible cold.
If it's not medical, it's beer.
Terrible that you haven't tried, bro.
I've never done.
I've had food in other countries, bro, and that's something I would never try. Peanuts and beer.
When he did that, I thought Evan was. I don't know. I was like, I thought you were just kidding.
No,
but that was real.
No, it was
like he made a mistake and spilled his peanuts in his beer. Like,
I accidentally sat there for 10 minutes and cracked open those peanuts and put the peanuts in there.
It was like, yo, looks like someone took a dump in your beer, and you're like, I'm gonna drink that thoroughly. Okay, we went off topic here. Anyway,
Crunchy Bear does
to get us back on topic, I'll stay in the topic of safeties because I actually want to hear, considering what Mal just said, I would like to hear your take on Jordan Battle. Obviously, everybody's been talking about safety coming out of Alabama. Pretty versatile dude. I think he also can probably play in the slot. He is a little bit smaller than JL Skinner, but let's be honest. I mean, JL Skinner's what, 6'4"? Like a little bit greedy. Man, 6'1", 201. And just like my man Emmanuel Forbes that I brought up before, another guy that brought a few pick sixes back to the house during his career. So I just think that this is a guy. This whole episode is in the vein of highlighting guys that haven't been getting talked about a lot, and I feel like Jordan Battle is a guy that's kind of fell by the wayside in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Rhonda, for sticking around. We'll see you soon. Jordan Battle, man.
I mean, he's played 1,000 snaps at free safety for Alabama, right? That like this is a dude that's played a ton of football at a football factory. So I would be excited for him. And he plays again just the need of somebody that can play that deep third or be able to cover the back half of the field. He's somebody with a ton of experience back there, and then you see him come up and run support, and it's no breaks, right? It's all gas, no breaks. So missed tackles in there because of that, right? I think that you could clean that up with technique, right? Really looking to wrap up and drive as opposed to just big hit people. But I like it. I like it for sure. I'm curious to see where he ends up going because, like you say, he's somebody that's not really talked about.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those guys that just gets lost in the shuffle. He like once the like how we were talking about when one position starts to go, he could just be caught up in that wave of 4 safeties that go within 15 picks.
Yeah.
He fits right in the scheme because he's going to be familiar with that cover 7, cover 8 because the man who invented that whole scheme himself, Saban, you're basically getting it as God himself. So you're gotten somebody who's familiar and can immediately probably be a key impact and might be a potential, this season's Reed Blankenship if we do have to go in that situation again.
Yeah, again, he plays so many snaps, right? That like, and again, to your point, the familiarity coming in already, is communicative on the back end. Like you could see him helping folks get a line, and so Branch has gotten all the publicity, but Battle might be the one with the better career because I 100% know what he's doing in the NFL. I think there's still questions around what Brian Branch is going to really be.
It's funny that you bring up Branch. I was like, I just keep not like one play defines your career or anything, but like when he was in the slot against I think it was a Texas wide receiver, put him in a blender, and I was like, man, him on an island. I was like, but I mean,
Cedric Tillman put him in a blender, my boy, on the island. So
again, I'm not gonna one play doesn't define a guy, but that one play sticks out in my head. I'm like, him on an island.
Brian Branch or
for Brian Branch?
For Brian Branch.
Branch.
Battle got cooked too, but that's not really what you asking him to do. You asking Brian Branch to be a lockdown defender.
But Battle is not going to be day one.
No.
So like when you day one, I don't like. There's certain things I don't like to see.
He can fall into the back end of day two though.
Yeah,
I think good Battle.
A lot of Eagle fans love Brian Branch, and some were drinking something
at
when
10.
They were saying at 10.
At 10.
Nah, they were bugging on that one.
Yeah. And again, Eagles don't do that. Okay, they don't do that. They don't do that. So I'm gonna follow the same ilk as y'all, talking about safeties. I'm talking Illinois safety, Sidney Brown, a guy who I didn't know much about until going to the Senior Bowl, and then he just kept flashing. And then I was like, okay, I need to go watch more of this guy. I was like, then some other dude walked by, and I'm like, oh, this guy looks the same. Oh, he's got a twin brother. Okay, this is what we're doing here. He plays running back. This guy plays safety. And then I'm like, this guy is every scout that I was talking to down there, like Sidney Brown, dude, this guy is yoked up, ripped up. They were like, he made everyone out there feel like we needed to go into the gym. So he was about the action on the field at the Senior Bowl. And then when I started digging in, man, he's the guy you talk about the 10 interceptions that he put up in the last 2 years, but talking about Illinois secondary with guys like Witherspoon, like your other boy Jatavius Brown. He led that group with 6 picks, man. I think instinctual. I think his football IQ. He's in the right place at the right time. And that kind of when you're talking about playing zone, and we've seen guys who in the defense. I'm not saying he's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but I'm talking instinctual, being where the ball and breaking off some of these routes and just falling in the sweet spots of the zone. I think you can hang out there and make some picks. Again, at his size, he could definitely be bodied out by some of these tight ends out there, the more athletic tight ends, the Kelceys of the world. Again, it's him, Kelce on any safety is a problem, but I think overall, I think that's where you might want to have some help. I mean, even though he's the safety over the top, not over the top, but you'd probably want to double team in those types of situations. But I think he's a guy that you trust, man. The leadership qualities, I think that's one thing that a lot of his interviews, I was super impressed with him. I think he's definitely a guy that would buy in. I mean, again, building in that locker room, a role player early on as in special teamer early on in his career with this group would be great. That's myself, my Sidney Brown.
Yeah, I like Sidney, bro. I mean, probably. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
I was about to say I'm scared away from them safeties that's been yoked because Deron Landry kind of ruined that for everybody. But
that was steroid.
Yeah, that was a different kind of yoke.
You can tell this dude is in the gym. And then, yeah, like you said, he's somebody you want to rely. Like, even if you get burnt on a double move, at least that safety better be over top, and not in the middle of the field doing whatever. But yeah, I saw his pro day, and he passed the eye test for sure.
Yeah.
And it's more of, can we have rotation? Eventually, some of these guys do got to leave because Slay's about to be on the way out. Bradbury is going to be on the way out. And it's still a question mark who truly is going to be our starting safety. So I would rather have a bunch of unknowns competing for that starting spot, because the hungry dog is the dog you want out there.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm always down for a safety that comes across as a ball hawk, man. And any guy that you can add into your defense that can just immediately flip a game, and it's the ultimate igniter when you're able to turn the ball over. So he's a guy that I think can. I mean, 6 picks last year. It's a great season.
Yeah, my thing with Sydney, man, he was heavy box, right? That like he's not somebody that really played the slot. He's not somebody that really played the deep third, like the back half. And so I'm curious, can he hold up in the box at the same rate in the NFL? Will he be the same like playmaker? I like his aggressiveness. Like he's somebody that quickly identifies plays that click and close. Like Coach said, he passes the eye test. My question was, can he do more than what you see, or is this all that he can be? And if so, is that needed on a team already that has Edmonds, that already has Reed Blankenship, some relatively large dudes that are going to most likely be playing closer to the line of scrimmage because that's their skill set, right? Like, is he somebody we see that we could develop and like come in later? That was just my question with him.
Now in the chat, we had a couple questions on it. Does anyone thoughts on Anthony Johnson? Anyone want to pick that one up?
I ain't really like him. I watched him. He didn't impress me for all of the accolades and the talk around him. He ain't jump off the screen like that.
No, I was about to say, all the research I've tried to do, that name hasn't even popped up on my radar.
Yeah, A&M, bro. He's nice, bro. Like physical prototype. When you look at the size, height, weight, speed, he has the things. When you watch him on film, it doesn't translate the same way. So he's some folks' top safety on their board. When I went in and looked, I didn't feel that way. Like I said, I thought JL Skinner stood at the top for me.
Yeah.
Now
looking at Vic LeVar, he brings up a name that I feel like nobody's been talking about at all.
We were just talking about him earlier, Gail.
Yeah,
this another one, bro.
Why you keep clicking it, dog? Trying to bring it up.
I clicked it up. I had it ready to go, bro. Ready to go. I had it ready to go, pal. Ready to go. So Vic says,
I want to say it. I want to say it.
Read it. Reading is fundamental. Go ahead.
Is Israel Abnikanda?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna say it,
try it one more time, my boy.
Abanikanda. Okay. Abanikanda.
I think you're the only one that can pronounce.
Go ahead. Read it again, F. Go ahead.
Israel Abanikanda, out of Pittsburgh. No, but I mean, dude, for this is a guy that I feel like hasn't been talked about at all. I mean, this is one of the first times I've actually heard about him.
No, we talked about him on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely, running back version.
Shout out to you. Call him Izzy if you want. If you're familiar with him, you can call him Izzy. But no, he's explosive. The thing I think it's the yards of the contact balance.
Exactly.
And, again.
Exactly.
If you're talking about the yak, and then like he could hit the home run at the, but if he's going down at the first tackle, or arm tackles, or that's why he's a guy on day 3 that I'm like.
Chomping at the bit in the 4th, 5th round. If he's sitting in the 5th round still, like 100%. But I think that what Gail said there, when you're looking at a guy that's 217, pushing 220, going down on first contact, and I'm not just talking defensive linemen, linebackers, like these are corners catching him on the edge, and he's not fighting through that contact. Like you see him going down more often, than you see him running through that contact. But foot in the ground to go, right? That like he's also somebody once he identifies the hole, he could get there and produce, my God. So it's just you can't. It's just you can't.
I mean, the thing is, he's a young buck, so you like the fact that you can groom, him early.
Just becomes another Miles, right? Somebody that runs east and west because they don't have the speed. It doesn't translate the same way, and then doesn't give you as much after contact.
Got a great name though. That's a hell of a draft name.
Abanaconda. Because
they'll have dudes like Evan on binders, on draft day. Like, can you get the pronunciation? That's the kind of name that will.
What do you mean by people like Evan? Expand on that.
Caught you.
He's like, look up his name in Urban Dictionary, please. What does that mean? That's a tough name, man. I definitely took my time with that one. Who we got next on this one?
Coach.
Is Coach? Yes,
is it? Well, since we already on the topic of running back, I'm gonna go with my guy, Tajay Spears from Tulane. I'm sorry. I didn't know. No, I look at his game, man, and it's the fact that I like the most about him is his motor. If the hole collapse, he has that quick step to bounce it out, and then the speed. Now that 4.47 he ran doesn't do him any justice, but as well the tape doesn't lie about his home run. Yeah. And then what popped off, like his last year numbers weren't the same because I guess he wasn't getting the touches, but his last 6 games he's doing $150 a piece, and then he dropped 200 rushing yards on USC. If I'm correct, Tulane's in the American Conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was gonna say, AAC. Yeah.
And you go drop 4 tutties and 200 yards on probably defense that was supposed to be trying to fight to go into the playoffs.
Right.
So it's the skill set. I know a lot of people aren't gonna like it because we already got that type of player. With it being with Kenny G, but at the end of the day, if I can have multiple of the same thing, like I got at least 4 pair of Jordan 12s in different colors. I'll take it because they all do something different, to the fit, to the drip. So
this guy crafty with it. This guy telling stories over here. Let me piggyback this because as soon as when Mal sent me,
man, fell in love with this guy.
When Mal sent me, he's like, "Yo, Coach Walk got Tajay Spears." I was like,
hey, Coach, first he yelled at me as if I chose Tajay.
I was like, "Why you steal my guy?"
Coach Walker damn list. This ain't my damn list.
I said, "Why you steal my guy?" So I was like, "I'll let you have your guy," and I'll just piggyback. I would not lie that he was one of those. There's a certain amount of guys on my list that I was waiting to go drive 16 hours to Alabama for, and he was one of them. And then I'm like, a Tulane running back. How's he gonna? I'm not helmet scouting, but I was just saying, I want to see it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when he got down to the Senior Bowl, Tajay was ripping him all. Like it didn't care who was in front of him. He was getting around him, and he was like change of direction. I liked explosiveness. I liked. He was just running crazy to the point where everyone's like, "Oh, there goes Tajay. There he goes again. There he goes again." And then you see the runs that he has literally throughout his tape is like man on fire, nose for the end zone, just like trying to pick up a toddler who's running all over the damn place. He's got somewhere to go. He doesn't care what. Like he doesn't run like a toddler, like Mal said about at the timing well. But he's the guy that's all over the place, and he's always got a nose for the end zone.
Yeah,
I like him. Very,
man. That motor, right? That like he has that motor. He's somebody that continues to give effort every single snap, every single play. And again, the coach was playing against that USC defense. Like his tackles were doing him no favors, right? Like his interior offensive line. It's not like Tulane's O-line had the best game of their life. Like Tajay was getting busy and creating these yards after contact, before contact, right? So it was a majestic performance to watch, and also to go and like watch the other tape. He was consistent. Like this is something that he just does. Again, I think it's redundant with Kenny G, but hey, man, good football players are good football players.
Well, the other thing with him is he's got a significant knee injury history.
Mm-hmm.
So he missed some time, and this is before us getting what's his name from Seattle.
Oh,
I was thinking
Rashad Penny,
a guy that you could he's a guy that you could throw in the mix, compete for that RB3 spot on day 3. Tajay Spears, he could go early depending on where they feel. We weren't there on the interviews. We didn't see the medicals, Ev. So
I got to dig a little bit deeper and see what the medicals look like. No, I just got to contact my people. We all violate HIPAA laws together and keep it on the low.
Now,
Kendrick Miller from TCU. I'll let you talk about your guy.
For me, that's another one that has the engine that keeps running, right? But also he has the power to move through people, and that's what I look for. I want to see your decision making. Are you putting that foot in the ground, getting downhill? Are you dancing? He's a get downhill guy, but also when he's confronted with a cornerback, a safety, even certain linebackers, he's taking that contact on, and he has a spin move that he utilizes to get out of tackles or get himself into space. That's just deadly. I don't know that they take him. I also am hard pressed to figure out exactly where Kendrick lands. I mean, I had a 3rd round grade on him, but again, I think he's somebody that could fall. He's somebody that could get boosted without medicals, without interviews. It's hard to really pin that stuff down, but I do think that Kendrick is a really productive running back that's just scratching the surface. He's still one of these younger players too that is just getting into the groove. And I think, you get him on a 4-year contract, you're going to get the best years of his career.
Yeah.
Kendrick Miller. I like his game. He's the guy that I want to get in for interview.
Yeah.
While we still can.
That would be nice.
Who's next?
That's on me. And so I'm going to go Jartavius Martin to end it out. So he's the other safety at Illinois. He's the sort of forgotten person in that mix. But I really enjoy watching his tape because you saw, again, for me in this show, I really tried to stick to the same sort of thing, which is like people that can do multiple things, multiplicity. It makes it, like Coach said, harder for you to figure out what the defense is doing pre and post snap. And so he's somebody that's lined up in the slot. He's somebody that's played in the box. He's somebody that's played deep third. And so he also had an absolutely just ridiculous combine. And that's what really made me go back and grind the tape again. I had gone in there to watch Witherspoon. I had gone and watch Sydney. But I was like, okay, let me really lock into him because he's not flashing as often. But let me see if if the tools that you see him, with at the combine show up on tape. And I think they did. Had a 4.46 40. That 1.47-10 split for me is important too, right? Because that shows a short area quickness, 44-inch vertical, an 11-1 broad jump, and 15 reps on the bench press. I think, again, it just highlights all of the tools that he brings to the table. You get him in a group with all of the safeties, all of the defensive backs. There's a lot of veterans on this team that I think could instill a lot of really great traits in him. And he's also 5'11", 194. So, he's not necessarily undersized. He brings some good size to the position. He doesn't show up as well as you want in coverage, considering all of those skills. But, again, I think that's more technique. I think that's skill as opposed to will. I don't think that he can't do it. Just wasn't asked to do it as much as he would be in the NFL.
Okay.
I love a guy that can also play the nickel as well. I mean, he seems like a guy that is real strong in coverage. There's definitely a guy that I feel like with Sidney Brown and his emergence out of Illinois, he also got swept by the wayside, just like Jordan Battle.
So, who's up next?
I believe that would be me. So we're going to be talking about, there's been a lot of talk about toddlers here, which first of all, I want to get this off of my back. Jartavius Martin, that man's older than I am. I want to check his birth certificate.
The medicals, the birth certificates. He's 22. He'll be 23 in like a week.
That looks like a 35-year-old hairline.
That guy just filed my taxes. I'm pretty sure.
He's rocking the old Revo helmet.
But anyway, onto a young toddler in Jake Witt. Everybody seems to be forgetting about my man out of Northern Michigan, the powerhouse. What I see in this guy is another project for Jeff Stoutland. Huge proponent of Stoutland University. He turned a rugby player into an all-pro. So I just look at the physical traits that he brings to the table. We're talking someone 6'7". He's obviously pretty light for 6'7" at 265. But you put some meat on your bones. Dude's got a 37-inch vertical for his size, including a 10-foot 3-inch broad jump and a 4.8 940. The guy is extremely athletic, and I think if you are able to put some meat on his bones and put him under Jeff Stoutland's wing, he could turn into something. And I don't want this to be forgotten. I'm not talking about Miles Murphy, but everybody knows about the extraordinaire out of Ferris State, Caleb Murphy, who in 2022 set the NCAA single season record, 25 and a half sacks. He shut him down. Everybody, Jake Witt showed up and shut down Caleb Murphy. So
Caleb Murphy.
No, it's just a guy that I would say, like I'm talking 6th, 7th round. Could potentially be a project for Jeff Stoutland, and I mean he's proven in the past to be able to turn guys into someone.
Yeah, he's up to 300 now almost, so he's packing on the weight for the NFL transition.
Interesting, nice one, Ev. Nice one.
Yeah,
I saw Ev. He brought up his RAS score. Ev's like, check this out, and I'm like, you heard of him? I was like, bro, I don't even know who the hell you're talking about. It's so much so that it was so hard to find like North Michigan anything.
Yeah,
I had to that took about a good 20 minutes to find that. But moving right along, my guy, just interesting prospect. You talk about a guy who we're talking about track star. Was like 4th in the nation at
Get over here. Struggling,
Can someone say that word? Heptathlon?
Heptathlon.
Yeah. I'm African names like God. This stuff don't God. But Andre Yoshivas from Princeton, 6'3", 205, wide receiver out of Princeton. Shout out to my half Filipino brothers. He's from Hawaii. I went up to him. I was like, yeah. We got 2 things in common. This is at the Senior Bowl. I was like, we're both half Filipino. He's like, get out of here. No way, man. And I was like, we both were coached by Coach Bob Serace, which is his head coach at Princeton, was my offensive coordinator. So we had a good talk. And then, at the end of the day, you're an Ivy League dude at the Senior Bowl going up against the best of the best. He held his own. Definitely had some crispy routes, had some nice catches. Definitely got some finesse to his game. I think he's a guy. He's a burner as well. He performed well at the combine. I think according to him, he said he made himself some money. I saw him on a recent podcast. I was like, okay, that's a little flex right there. But again, I think at his size, the way he runs, I'd love to see him in some press situations against some real, SEC script type cornerbacks. That would be nice to see. But I mean, he held his own down at the Senior Bowl, and I think he definitely made himself some money. Again, if you talk about a guy, we're talking about wide receiver 3, our wide receiver 3. We're trying to find replacements. Mm-hmm. So a guy who can stretch the field, he could be that. He could definitely be a 3-level threat. And is that our last guy?
Can he return punts?
I don't know about returning punts.
A good question.
Isn't it funny though how we have talked about replacing Quez Watkins with everything from JSN to EO Savas at this point?
Listen.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you got to. Hey, if it takes you going to replace Andre Dillard with a rugby player, you do it. I had one other extra guy that I want to add in there
Throw it in.
for a bonus. His nickname is Junior Fahoko. We're not touching that first name from San Jose State edge.
Viliami.
Also a rugby player in high school. So he has that demeanor. Talk about the man bun is a style, but he's a guy that plays with his hair on fire. I'm not gonna say he's the most gifted athletically, but from a toolsy perspective, like we love the tools. He's got a whole bunch of different moves. Stout at the against the run, solid in getting after the quarterback. Very productive, right behind Mr. Anderson in production.
Mr. Anderson.
If you guys know, that tone of voice.
Matrix.
What's the name of that movie?
Matrix,
one of my favorites.
What's the name of that movie?
He just asked, "What's the name of the movie?" Well, that's one of my favorites.
But yeah, man, this guy's he's definitely on day, on the mid rounds, day 3. Hopefully falls later. He's a guy on the back end. When you're talking about a guy who will come in the picture of, when you're looking at these plays and that random lineman who's hustling down with his hair on fire, that's this dude. So I think he's definitely a sleeper, and definitely think, he'd be nice.
50 hurries, bro. I love it. 50 hurries out of a guy with those measurables, right? Like he's somebody that had a heck of a year, his final year playing for San Jose State. I haven't gotten as deep into his tape as I probably should have at this point. But just having looked at it, from a sort of surface level, you see he has the tools. I just want to get further into how it projects, like Coach has been saying this whole time, into this offense, into this defense.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I mean, we're deep into the draft talk. We got Scott. He's like 14 people in the chat. 14 crazy ass people in the chat talking about the draft. We're talking about day 3 sleepers. That's what it is. Hopefully you got a sleeper for us. But did we miss anyone?
I feel like we talked about everybody in the draft at this point.
I mean, you're talking about Jake Witt over here from Northern Michigan. We are covering all levels of the draft.
Are we ripping one or what?
Oh, this guy. You trying to rip a mock?
I mean, always, bro. I know, Coach, if you got to bounce, my man, feel free.
No, I got time, man.
Let's do it. We always doing mocks.
Now's the one with the money, bro.
Yeah, if my parking fee goes over in New York City right now,
how you come to the show not prepared?
I'm gonna send you the bill. Okay.
All right, say less. Send it to Evan. That's big money Evan over there, yo. Hold on, let me pull this joint up. Alrighty.
Yeah, when you brought up Vili, whatever, I had to see if he was part of that. I had to see if his brother was Brendan from Pittsburgh.
It's actually his cousin is actually Vita. His second cousin is Vita Vea. So the bloodlines are there.
The blood, and then the next thing I'll have to see was
hair on fire.
Is he part of that Troy Polamalu tree? Because Troy has a tree now under his little.
Troy is doing work right now, bro. Mm-hmm. Like Polamalu is turning some folks into savages, man. I'm with it.
Like what was it, homeboy from the 49ers, the safety? Oh my god.
Took him under his wing and turned him into a savage, bro.
Hufanga.
Yeah, Hufanga.
He was also, his cousin is Marlon Tulipa.
All right,
dude practices names, bro. You got.
I only got the African
names. Right? Gail know all the connections.
I only got the African names.
We know.
This guy's studying family trees.
We get his brother Because, bro, think about you get them two to just
Thule.
play with
Oh,
each
Thule?
other.
Yeah.
Thule is
Yeah,
tough,
oh
yo.
my God.
Thule's good, man.
Football becomes a little bit more different when you're playing side by side with your brother.
That's real. Y'all, yeah, you already know the vibes, baby. Y'all trying to get to it?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, start that thing. All right.
Oh.
So, first overall, we have Bryce Young go to Carolina. I feel like this has been kind of the same. Second, CJ Stroud to the Texans. Will Anderson to the Cardinals. Anthony Richardson to the Colts. Tyree Wilson to Seattle. Christian Gonzalez to the Lions at 6. Will Levis to the Raiders at 7. Jalen
Broderick
Carter
Jones.
falling. He was close.
Yeah.
At 8, and then Broderick Jones, tackle from Georgia, at 9 to the Bears.
I got Carter going to Detroit, bro. Carter is not.
Yeah,
going
we were
past
talking about
6.
that earlier. I think that's such a great fit. 5 and 6, I feel like, are the area for
There
Carter.
you
Really.
see,
but you-
Christian Gonzalez is just going to sit. I'm
See,
not spending a first round pick for somebody to sit on the bench.
You see Campbell, his comments on Carter. That could have been a smoke screen too, though.
Yeah, I don't listen to none of that stuff, bro. All right, so we have Devon Witherspoon on the board, Skaronski, Quentin Johnson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh, everybody boy, Luke Van Ness, Dalton Kincaid. We
Sheesh.
traded back. Y'all feeling Nolan Smith at 10. We doing the thing. What y'all thinking? Bijan at 10.
Vic's like we need
What
to
are
trade
our
up to
trade
5.
options? What are our trade options?
Jaguars at 24. The Falcons at 44, the Dolphins at 51. So I feel like the Jaguars would be the only one.
Yeah.
And that's pretty far
20,
back.
24 is far back.
Yeah.
We could rob them of everything, though.
You could rob them of everything. They'd give it all up. Probably
You
some
see?
future
Did you guys
picks,
see
too.
the mock trade that who's it? ESPN did for us, where to Minnesota, trading back to Minnesota to 23.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, and honestly,
All
the
right,
return wasn't that
let's-
great. And that,
That was
yes,
we Vikings received the number 10 overall. We get back the number 23, 87, and a 2024 first round choice. Would you do that?
what was it?
I think the Vikings would be terrible, so possibly.
2024
They
first
getting
round
ready to
choice,
rebuild.
87
Yeah.
overall, round 3, number 23, round 1.
All right, so hold on. Right now, for the 10th pick in the draft, we'd be sending to the Jaguars, and in return, we get 24, 56, 88, a second round pick, and a fifth
far
round
back,
pick in
bro.
Now,
2025.
hear me out, though. Hear me out. We just did a whole episode on guys that are sleepers. So we trade back. We just got a bunch of
I
extra
feel like
picks
it's
under
a lot of
100.
people.
Just saying.
It says too far back. Let's do it, man. Push yourself, Gil.
Who else is there to trade with? Anyone else earlier?
Nah, the next pick is 44 to Falcons. Because
Good
the only
Lord.
other first round. I mean, it's only a round.
Who's
a pick
got
later.
there at 10 though?
Who's at ready to be picked at 10?
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody you thinking.
So-
Spoon, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I love how you just went right over
Deontay
Skaronski.
Banks.
Not.
Yeah, I'm not listening.
Well, how about trading back from 30 if we're gonna
That's what I was gonna say because
get your dog, get your guy. Who's our guy? And then we trade back from 30.
Here, I mean, if we stay in that 10, I would probably take JSN, honestly. I mean, I love Spoon too. You already know.
Wow, you taking JSN
Nolan?
over Smith now?
hey, that's
I forgot Nolan was
that's
sitting
wide
there,
receiver
too.
3.
Only because JSN is such it's such an easy slot in, bro. And he's a dog, son. So I mean,
At
I'm
10?
open.
I mean, I think
Nolan's coming in to be a rotational pass rusher, bro. I think that JSN give you more year one than Nolan.
I
Probably.
think
Wow,
Nolan
this
would be
guy.
there at 30.
Nah, he's been going way earlier in the mocks. But let's make a choice, yo, because we stuck at 10. So we got Spoon, JSN.
I
And
said
we got
JSN
Nolan.
or Nolan.
Yeah, that would be either of those people I'm fine with.
so. If you're gonna move back, if you want to do the move back and be funky with it, that would be the farthest we moved back in the mock yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Then
Do
go
the
ahead.
20, man.
Pull-
let's
pull trigger,
let's
pull
rock
trigger.
these fools.
I read a great article about
Could have been this.
Devin today, man.
Well, this one, yeah, Spoon is nasty.
Bro,
Don't reject it. God.
Yo, that dude was watching like 12 hours of film every week.
He's a beast, bro. And when we talked about him, every year he got better. You could tell it's because he was dedicated to his craft. All right, so we traded pick 10
Good Lord.
to the Jacksonville Jaguars for their 24, 56, 88, 202, and the second round pick in 2024.
See, we kind of emulated that trade scenario that was out there about us trading back with the Vikings. So this is kind of,
except we got a better return.
ooh,
I think we got
ooh, good Lord. Nolan Smith off the board.
Everybody went. Yeah. Nolan Smith went 16 to Washington of all places. JSN with 13.
Bad. So they're the New York Buckeyes. That's where the Jets are going.
That was very interesting.
Bijan with Kenneth Walker in Seattle. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's just overkill.
Yo, like all the guys went that.
Everybody went.
Would you take Branch here?
Everybody went,
Emmanuel Forbes,
I guess.
Jeez, Louise.
Cyrus, maybe. Don't judge it yet. We got a ton of picks. Let's see how it end up first.
Right.
I mean,
Brian Branch is sitting right there, bro.
He said start over. He said, nah, bro, you gotta apply pressure to yourself. Hey, hear me out. Quentin Johnson right here, y'all, at 24.
No, hell no, bro. Hell no.
Yo, bro, he get gadget player, man.
To compete as a wide receiver 3?
Nah,
it's not like it's not like regular where we're telling you to be wide receiver 1. Like, bro, you competing against Quez Watkins.
Big body.
Nah, I'm good with that. I don't need Quentin in my life. His Quentin is athletic.
Those drops are real.
I like it.
I ain't gonna hold you. All right, man. So what's
is Osiris here?
Yeah, Osiris is here. That's what I'm saying. I'll be cool with Osiris right here.
Will McDonald also. We got Nolan already.
No, we didn't do Nolan yet. Who did we take at 10?
We didn't.
No, we traded out. We traded out.
Let's
go Osiris right here, yo. Control, hold, delete. Osiris.
I'm in with that.
Trigger.
Oof.
Get the big body on the line. All right, we're here at 30. We got Will here. Manuel Forbes here. BJ Ojulari's here.
So we got a potential starter at right guard.
Cam Smith. Adebaware.
Yeah, he's been on my list too.
Yeah, Thule sitting here. Sam Laporta is an interesting one to me. Jack Campbell's probably day 2 guy.
There's so many balls to go around the picker. See, that makes no sense.
Julius Brants.
That's Ev's big corner.
You know where I'm at.
Will McDonald.
Let's
Ojulari.
No.
Felix.
Go get that boy Jamar.
Oh, Gibbs.
Yeah, I was always on the Gibbs train, bro.
Hey, I ain't gonna get no
following kids since Georgia Tech.
You ain't gonna get no argument out of me, dog. We got 30. Pull the trigger.
Damn, bro.
Listen, you get that guard, you get that explosive.
Is he gonna be
multi-purpose?
He's not gonna beat her at 50.
Oh wait, hold on.
Hide on the board,
sir. That's what I'm checking right now. Because if so, yeah, come on now. I feel like that's almost on. I love Gibbs, but I'll take Hyatt over Gibbs right now. And just
what about Will McDonald, bro?
I'm cool. Well, I'm cool with Ojulari right there too. To me, they roughly in the same area.
I'd say, bro. I think because we're thinking, right? We just hit the trenches, and then we hit defensive end as well.
So you got Ed, you got Will McDonald, you got Felix, you got BJ, and you got Adetomiwa. Adetomiwa, bro. Adetomiwa? No, man, that's Baby Runner. Come on,
no. I'm saying, go Will McDonald here.
Well, all right, let's do it. Will.
Damn.
That shit ain't gonna translate, bro. He run like a Tyler. He gonna get knocked over.
BJ came to Houston.
Jalen White went to Atlanta.
Hyatt would have been interesting.
Yo,
Tanner McKee's still there. That's good value.
That was there.
Charbonnet.
Sure, you got Charbonnet. That's your boy. Yeah, Tanner McKee lasts forever. Got Julius Brents here. You know, we talking about
long corners for
talking about
long
somebody
corners
that
for
that.
Desai.
yeah.
Interesting.
Our next
I'll be
pick
cool.
is
I'll be cool with
in a
that.
few picks too. We got another pick and 6 picks, so keep that in mind. We could get Charbonnet and Brents potentially.
I think of Brent's here, Charbonnet next if he's
Yeah.
still there.
I'm in on that.
Y'all cool with that?
Yeah, for the
Another
special team
another
player.
developmental. It's the developmental draft, yo.
Mm-hmm.
it's, it's the upside draft.
There we go.
Charbonnet is there. Ooh, DJ Turner is a good one as
He
well.
said that Tyler's gonna show you. Yeah, he gonna show me. He still run like a Tyler.
Zach's on the board. Hey. That's not bad right there, man.
I'm honestly not hating this draft, man. To be honest with you.
I said we just gotta play it out, man. See how it's.
Nick Herbig still
Hear
there?
me? I like Nick Herbig, bro. He's kind of a one-trick pony, but his trick is a lot of speed and tenacity, and like he's definitely one of them try-hard guys that we was talking about the other day. But he got a little wiggle with him too, man. It ain't just to try hard.
Go down,
Jordan
go get
Battle's
him.
still sitting
Jordan
here too.
Battle.
Hold on, Carl Brooks is my guy. 3 techniques.
Is
Tank.
Hold on. Kobe Trice right here. Corey Trice, Kendra.
Ooh, Corey Trice. Yo, coach, you watched Trice yet?
No, I haven't seen Trice yet.
Yeah,
Just
check it
Obi
out,
Trice.
man. Big dude, bro.
Obi Trice.
Gail was just put me on him today. JL, that's a bunch of folks in here, man. What y'all thinking?
I'm kind of thinking Herbig, and then we go safety.
Herbig here. I like Jordan Battle, bro. I think that just is a hell of a need.
We went.
I mean, we got another pick and 6 picks again.
Yeah. But of the safeties, like he's it. If they take him, that's kind of it, yo.
Tim says Ojomo.
Let's keep it home. Go get Wanya.
Wanya Morse.
Yeah.
Didn't he? What did he do with his hamstring? Oh,
Was it a
developmental tackle.
It's not like he got to go anywhere far. He's already in Philly.
You're trying to take him? Wanya. Got Wanya up there.
We could be singing
It's a
some
couple
boys to men tracks.
All right, so where we going with it?
It's nice, but we got
saying
McDonald.
I'm feeling Battle, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
consensus
NFL,
on that
bro.
one.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Ooh,
Right back.
Still there.
Yeah, see, look. I'm
Carl
liking
Brooks.
it. Oh, we already took the guard. That's right.
What's up with another big ass corner?
You just want all these damn corners. What you Seattle? You want to just take Corey Trice?
it works if you run in the zone, man.
I'm with it. He a big mauler, man. And that if all else, it looks like he could potentially move back to safety too. Yeah. Play boundary corner. So career showed up. Man, look at that. Locking people up. Y'all want to take him? He's still there. Chartavius is here too.
Javius.
Yeah. Could take Wanya again, right? As the developmental tackle.
We all right, and we also have Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got your guard and maybe a potential tackle.
Possibly. All right, let's go Wanya.
Tim is saying Miller.
Yeah, we already took Charbonnet though. I feel like that would be
Now we got some time.
while we're mad time.
Developmental tackle. Got your potential starting guard at right guard.
KJ Henry's another one of those dudes I like. Older guy, but like showed a lot of pass rush juice.
You guys like Jonathan Mingo?
It was all right. He has the size, clearly.
Just drafted Boys to the Men.
Boys to men.
Shout out to my guy Wanya Morris. I was trying to develop a show with him. He was a good dude.
Hey, Corey Trice still sitting here.
Yo, I
Pull it. Pull the
Yes,
trigger.
ain't no question.
The question is, with this new DB coach, are we actually going to start developing our DBs?
I hope so.
Zach McPherson just texted us. He said, "Yo,
That's a
Anthony
great
Johnson.
question.
watch your mouth."
That's a great question.
So watch your
Got
mouth.
your boy Stetson on the board. I like Lonnie Phillips too. Is like a developmental guy, strong.
Strong.
Evan Hall.
Where's is my boy from was it Keon White from Georgia Tech?
Keon White.
Oh, he went early.
Yeah, Keon White's gonna go.
Or linebacker from Tulane?
Oh, he went to Williams.
And the Rose, a classic jam. Well,
Yeah, all them boys is out of here.
yo, how about one of our sleepers is Fahoko in there?
Oh, he probably went too.
What you call my mama?
Maybe.
I said.
Oh, Anthony Ortiz is an interesting one though.
What about DTR?
Probably. Because I feel like they don't even draft him. Oh, no. You got Stetson.
What about Max Duggan?
I'd rather take Stetson over Duggan.
He does have the athletic profile.
We got Max. We did it. It happened.
Don't hesitate. You just
press the button. Yeah, we in there.
We're in there, dog. Hey, shout out to you crazies who sticking around. Again, this is off-season mode, only for the crazies. Shout out to you guys who's sticking around, mocking the mocks.
Oh, isn't that Caleb Murphy?
Wow. Jake Witt. Oh, God.
Caleb who, Murphy?
Yeah.
He's here.
What about
Caleb Murphy, who was shut down by Jake Witt? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
what about Mo from
Oh, Ibrahim might not even be here, yo.
Draft.
Yeah, he's gone.
Who the hell are these parents, bro?
Yeah, seriously.
Don't forget about Bumper Pool as well.
Yo, draft that wide receiver Alize Jenkins.
Alize Jenkins. All right, let's go. We're going Troy Brown, Ole Miss linebacker. Get somebody here, play some special teams reps. Sit for us, fellas. We did it.
Wow, I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is.
Get the tape, son.
We got creative with this draft. This is the move back all the way back. All the way back.
We got an A. Okay.
We started off with guard out of Florida, Osiris Torrance, who we talked about on our last
traded
podcast.
Out first. We went back from 10 to 24. Yeah,
we traded the 10th pick to Jacksonville for number 24, 56 in the second round, pick 88 in the third round, and we got a second round pick in 2024, and we got a sixth round pick, 202 in the 2023 draft. Followed up with a pick. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you look at these top 5-6 picks, these are all guys that can contribute year one.
Yeah. We got Will McDonald, the insanely athletic edge from Iowa State. Ev's corner, Julius Brents, the long corner for Coach Desai. Zach Charbonnet, the wine guy from UCLA. Love his game. Get your power back with some wiggle. Ev's guy, Jordan Battle.
I'm putting in my propaganda, bro.
Ev's sprinkled his juice all over this
center fielder.
Pause.
We went for the hometown guy in Wanye Morris, Oklahoma tackle.
Obi Trice,
Wanye,
Corey Trice out of Purdue. You got an A+ for that one, around 6. Interesting.
He plummeted for the 95th overall pick to go 202. Gail, I'm telling you, there's something going on, bro. Even PFF know.
Evan checked the medicals. We went with quarterback Max Duggan out of TCU.
We might have gotten an A+ if we taken Stetson.
Possibly.
I'm saying
Troy
for
Brown out of Ole Miss linebacker.
Look at that A that we got for Troy Brown, bro. I saved the draft at the end. Got us there, my boy.
Dick says my grade F because you didn't draft Izzy.
Well, at least you're consistent, Vic. I appreciate you.
Wow, man. Thank you guys for the guys who stuck around in the chat. Again, man, it's draft season. We're getting, only the crazies. Only the crazies. But before we get out of here, shout out to Philly Sports Trips. If you're looking to make a trip anytime soon, check them out, phillysportstrips.com. Make sure you follow them at Sports Trips PHL for more information. They have heard that the Phillies game got postponed, so they're having a tailgate.
Nice.
I think that'll be on Friday. Maybe I can get out and go to that one. That'll be interesting.
I'm mad I didn't catch you on the Philly sports trip to Houston.
I know, man. Yeah. I'm mad. I'm a little mad. But shout out to Bud Light as well for holding us down all year during the tailgates. Shout out to Conshohocken and Italian Bakery. They just celebrated their 50th year. Shout out to them. They're amazing people as well. But before we get out of here, last word. We'll start with the visitor of the day, Coach Walker, putting down his prospects, bringing the heat all show. Last word.
Hey, I'm. It may not look like it, but I'm very ecstatic on what the future holds. Definitely been doing a lot of research into our new DC and the fact that we got not just a decision maker, but somebody with a legit PhD that understands the X's and O's and how to actually put our players in the places they need to be so we can succeed. I can't wait for it. Boy, I think our defense, what we saw last year, was just the touch of it. We're about to get into all my DBZ fans. We're about to hit that Super Saiyan God mode this season, man.
Love
Very
it.
nice.
Mal.
Yeah, man. Hey, Coach, appreciate you coming on, bro. I was excited to have you on here to talk these underrated prospects of folks that we should get more eyes or attention on. But yeah, draft is getting close. I hate to even say that this is my favorite time of the year because clearly like the season is, but I really enjoy the opportunity to talk football, talk prospects, just talk all of this stuff leading up to the draft, and then be severely disappointed when the Eagles take none of the players that I want them to take, which is like an annual sort of thing that happens. So, we do all of this talk and then scream at the computer for 8 straight hours as they don't take anybody. But I am excited, I think, to Coach's point, this defense is headed in the right direction. And I feel like the side knows what he wants. And shout outs to East Coast Gridiron. Talking to Dante earlier as a Seattle fan, he mentioned that the side really played a big role in getting Tariq Woolen to Seattle. So if he's already identifying those big, long, rangy corners that can really play in the NFL, Eva's already given us Julius Branch, right? Like we just looked at Trice today. There are a lot of these guys in this draft. There's a perfect draft for that. So I'm geeked out, bro.
Yeah. As for me, I mean, I love the draft time as well, but I feel like I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. So I feel like there's a lot of people that once you get a guy, you fall in love with a guy, and then you can't be convinced, off a ledge about that guy, one way or the other. So I think that tonight's podcast was kind of a good eye-opening experience as far as guys you haven't necessarily heard much about, and just opening your eyes and keeping your mind open to the possibility that the Eagles aren't going to take the guy that you want, which is probably in the probability. So follow up Mark Embiid for MVP. Go Birds, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Shout out to these two guys who they're probably arguing with each other right now. Like I didn't know there was a damn impromptu show right now, but shout out to Hollis and Prime. But want to give a shout out to Jordan Malata. He's doing an event, Aussies for Autism, a fundraiser. This will be April 22nd. Jordan Malata will be out there with a food truck fundraiser. for autism. Come meet Jordan Malata, and you can also meet some of his special guests. I'm not going to say there might be a surprise singing performance. The guy has some pipes if you haven't noticed, but this will be April 22nd. Bring the kids. It's a family-friendly event. Shout out to Jordan Malata. But yeah, last word, man. We're getting close to the draft. It's only a couple weeks away. There could be some big trades, some big things going down. It could be Jalen Carter. You could, screw the medicals, screw the off-field issues. We could have the DT of a lifetime, and bring in some Georgia dogs, whether Nolan Smith. Maybe they get crazy and they, instead of zigging, they zag and go Bijan. Imagine that. Evan would be excited. All the Bijan stands would be excited. But yeah, man, we'll see you guys soon, man. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, fly, Eagles. Fly. Man got
The
germs
ultimate way
all over the mic.
to end the freaking show.
Damn, Rudy